The year is 2036. The European Civil War breaks out. Almost all of eastern Ukraine is controlled by Commander Viktor Koval, a man few people have ever met. The incident occurred in a half-destroyed city where hostilities continued. A group of peacekeepers, supported by combat robots, fight back the enemy. There were wounded soldiers near the armored personnel carrier that was hit, and the commander didn't do that. I wanted to be there while they were moving the wounded. The battle was overseen by Thomas Harp, the drone operator in charge of air cover. Suddenly, a car sped towards the gunman and stopped nearby. Harp requests permission to destroy the potential threat. The platoon commander prevented shooting because he wanted to save the wounded. Harp insists he's convinced it's not just an armored vehicle but a missile launcher. They launched a missile barrage against all orders. The device was destroyed and 2 soldiers died, while the whole group was rescued. The girl sitting next to him was angry at Thomason's disobedience. The man left the room. Although Harp was an excellent pilot and an effective soldier, he was sent their conversion procedure. Therefore, the order freed him from the risk of appearing in court because he violated a direct order. Hap went to the section of the soldier he killed. His immediate superior is Captain Liu. Commander Eckhart tells Harp that if he had been sent on a mission, he certainly would have made a lot of mistakes. Leo the man sends him to Building 13 and warns him that Leo is different from the other agents. But Thomas realized this when he saw a strong young man listening to an old man in a large room to register. Len meets Thomas as he lists all of his virtues and it's clear that he knows them. It's all about your partner. While they were talking, Leo packed the bag and told them they needed to get vaccinated in the refugee camps due to the spread of the cholera epidemic there. But this is only a claim, because the main activity is to find and acquire complexity. Rebel weapons. Leo tells Thomas about the warlord Viktor Koval fighting his followers. The rebels oppose Ukraine becoming part of Russia. This became the most tense place in the United Nations, which is why American peacekeepers were sent. According to the intelligence services, Koval was responsible for the atomic bombing. 25,000 people died in Kiev. Worst of all, automated nuclear attack control systems still exist doing business within the country. Missile silos are spread across the country, ready to strike anywhere in the world. Koval plans to come to the command center and give his orders to the world. Leo ordered Thomas to change his clothes because they refused to change their uniforms. A few kilometers from Ukrainian territory, he also takes off his clothes himself, and Hap sees that Leo is not human. The surprised man wonders who their leader really is, and he replies that it's the 4th generation. Biotechnology. If it arouses fear and mistrust, it will isolate you from the task. Hap wonders why he was sent here in the first place, and Leo replies that no one sent him here. When he was sent there, he chose Thomas because he needed someone who could think outside the box. Leo and Thomas, accompanied by a squad of soldiers and robots, head towards the rebels. Camp. The roads are dangerous and attacks can happen at any time. But the captain and Thomas start talking, and Leo asks for details about Harbandy's promise. Olivia. Thomas shows a picture of the girl and Leo jokes with the boy after learning about it. Call him Bjorn. A military convoy stopped in front of the civilians. They were told that the road to the camp was closed. The robots prepare to fight and the soldiers get out of the car. People who seemed calm suddenly started showing signs of aggression. Weapons are visible in their hands, and it seems that at the slightest provocation a firefight will break out. Lou got out of the car and walked towards the rebels. He ordered the soldiers to lay down their weapons and lay down their weapons. No one heard what he said, but his handshake with the president made it clear to reach an agreement. The captain returned to the car. He ordered the soldiers to withdraw and allowed them to enter the clinic. Then gunshots from the Kovalum militants rang out from nearby houses. A shootout broke out. Leo orders Thomas to get vaccinated and follow up. The boys kept walking. Soon they arrived at a refugee camp, a large covered area inhabited by many women, children and the elderly. Happy and Leo went to the hospital and were greeted by several doctors. Thanks to the military for their help. Suddenly shots rang out and a sniper lying on the roof tried to kill Leo Wahab. But fastest captain, he drags the bandit to the ground and realizes from the tattoo that he is one of Kovaland's subordinates. The soldiers gave the angry men guns and they killed the snipers. Hap was shocked by the carnage. The companions continued on their way, for Leonardo's informer was elsewhere, and the captain suddenly said, Hap was right to shoot the transport and should be rewarded for it. He saved 0 people without suffering the death penalty, and even if Leo wasn't alive, it is also possible to violate the instructions. The car arrived at the scene of the accident. Behind the fence, Harp was surprised to see a peaceful farm with many children playing. He meets Sophia, the caretaker of the orphanage, who turns out to be Leonard's informant. The girl told him that Koval was a stone's throw from the missile facility. It can only be activated by entering a top-secret code, which is stored in a vault somewhere in this part of town. Victor knows where the facilities are, so once he has the password, he will be able to access them. Atomic button. The arms dealer may know the location of the safe. After learning that Hap flew a drone, The little girl was fascinated by the impression she saw. His business is closed because these kids are homeless. For exactly that reason explode. Later, Sophia took her companions to the market and arrived at the vendor's tent. The merchant's security tried to stop him, but Lou easily pushed them away. The merchant had to tell them that the safe was in the bank on Carrera del Pacificar. Sophia kills the traitor. Hap and Leo went to the bank. Leo asked to have a tracking device cut off his back because the Russians had it intercept the signal and you don't want to be detected. The men were heavily armed and headed for the building. The two entered the bank lobby and were shot by gunmen. While Leo treats them, Hap has to contact the commander and tell him that Koval is there. These coordinates. The case becomes more complicated as Thomas must escape from the presence of hostages. Building after interrupting the guard, Leo encounters a Russian robot, which he destroys with one grenade launcher. He then ran further inside the building to find Koval, who was about to be eliminated. The enemy. Meanwhile, a fugitive took the hostages out of the building and discovered two armored personnel carriers. There are robots on the transport plane. Suddenly, the gunman fled, using the hostage for cover and claim. Put the gun down. Hap tries to talk them into releasing the hostages, but the Russian robots show up and are ready. Deal with. Leo continues to chase Koval and sees a man carrying a yellow bag containing a collection. The robot shoots the shooter and the battle begins. Hap managed to hide behind a concrete block and was shocked to see the hostage die, but I couldn't do anything. However, he managed to save some people from the fire. He called the commander again and learned that the bank was about to be destroyed. So both Leo and civilians are considered collateral damage. Leo gets the man carrying the bag and takes it away, but it's not Koval, and that's when the missile hit the bank building. The target has been destroyed. Saeed tried to regain consciousness. He saw what his work looked like: piles of ashes, charred bodies, blood and dirt. Through the smoke, Leo walks down the street, managing to survive. Then the man got into the car. Thomas doesn't understand why Leo really needs him and orders him back to base. Suddenly the robot refuses to obey Harp because his system allows it. In addition, Thomas dismantled its security systems and damaged American military equipment. Then immediately, because of its takeoff, General Eckhart believed that Leo had been destroyed. He then hit Thomas in the head and threw him from the car. After some time, Thomas was captured by the rebels and taken to their base, where she is received by the leader of the resistance, Sophia, and announces to her that it is not Koval. Leo rushes into the ocean that Sophia said was coming to Leo. Resistance missile control. Meanwhile, Leo arrives at Kovalan's hideout, accuses him of trying to kill him, and then confesses it has the password. Sophia says she trusts Leo, but Thomas is convinced the missiles are meant for the captain himself. He's a machine, you can't trust him. Meanwhile, Leo admits to Koval that he needs an ocean. Sophia claims that Leo is not good at cheating, but that he is the real enemy of America and they will prolong the conflict and destabilize Russia. Only the rebels really want peace because it's their country, and if the guns are pointed at them, America because of Assad, and the Ukrainians don't care. Harp tries to show that when America attacks, thousands of innocent people die and that's it. Not collateral damage, but mass murder. Meanwhile, Koval and Leo continue to discuss the terms of the deal with Koval. He occupies the border and dictates the terms from there, but Leo cannot forgive this attempt, kill him, and a fight breaks out. The captain eliminated all the security guards in Kovalam, killed the terrorists himself, and then find the coordinates of the ocean on Kovalan's computer. When Hap returns to the American base, he reveals that he is the hijacker Leo tracking system. Thomas asks his fellow military pilot for help. Drones. After determining the direction the captain was going, they discovered the location of the ship control room. Thomas asks to be given one last chance and solves this problem, and wants to find Leo and then shoot yourself and the drone will destroy the missile control center. There will be no strike. Thomas was given a weapon loaded with special ammunition that can penetrate the robot's bioshell. He went to the missile control center silo. He walked into the central room, where Leo had already opened the missile control panel. The former partners met at the console and a fight broke out. Hap shoots Leo, but the bullet doesn't do much damage, and Thomas and Leo are knocked unconscious. Go to the console, the countdown starts and the launcher opens. Bell's pilot saw the device and reported the situation, but Harp regained consciousness and opened fire. Leo has a special repertoire. The biobot is badly damaged and Hap tries to disable the remote control. General Eckhart asks for confirmation of Leo's existence. He was ready to attack, but Thomas asked the captain some questions. Why was he attacking? This had to be done, and the latter admitted that he, Leo, was a monster, and that's what he really was. He intends to show the world that if an American robot is capable of killing millions of Americans, then the software certainly cannot be put into production. America must understand that the war must stop. Hap then called for the missiles to be fired and ran away, leaving Leo motionless nearby. Bell fires a missile and destroys the control room. Summoning Eckhart Harp, there was silence in the air and Lieutenant Abondi suddenly answered. Mission accomplished. This movie makes you think about modern warfare. All you have to do is launch a missile and do your job. He doesn't see the amount of pain and destruction his work causes.